They have to come up with new categories for the awards. The Golden Globes came up with a new one this year. That basically picture people liked. They had, they had become such self-congratulating, virtue-signaling bores that they had to go, oh yeah, let's make a category for that. People actually paid to see something great. So there's some new Oscar categories. Would you like to hear the Oscar category? I knew you would. I knew you would want to hear them.
Let's be real. Award shows have gotten weird, like walking into a party where everyone's clapping for themselves. Awkward Bill Maher's been hitting that sore spot hard because the Oscars. The Golden Globes, they feel less like celebrating art and more like a seminar on moral superiority. If you've sat through a 3-hour ceremony thinking, why does this feel like homework? You already get it. Here's the heart of Maher's rant. Award shows keep adding categories not because movies suddenly evolved, but because culture shifted. The internet got louder, the industry got anxious, and now everyone's racing to prove they're on the right side of the latest outrage. You can tell when a category is real. Streaming changed everything, so new categories made sense. But some feel like they were born in a panic meeting. People are mad. We need something that looks compassionate. Suddenly, there's an award for movies people actually watched. Maher jokes the Golden Globes made a trophy just to honor films audiences liked. And it lands because it's true. Imagine needing a special award to say, yes, people spent money on this. Stunning, brave, historic, and that's the disconnect.
The thing about the Oscars is they do reflect society. That's why we pay so much attention, partly. And things are always changing in our industry, like streaming. It just changed the whole industry. This happens so often. So they have to come up with new categories for the awards. The Golden Globes came up with a new one this year that basically picture people liked.
Regular people are working, paying bills, sneaking in a movie night while award shows act like popularity is embarrassing.
They had become such self-congratulating, virtue-signaling bores that they had to go, oh yeah, let's make a category for that. People actually paid to see something great. So there's some new Oscar categories. Would you like to hear the Oscar category? I knew you would. I knew you would want to hear them.
Sure, the public liked it, but did it make them feel guilty enough? That's why virtue-signaling awards annoy so many people. Not because movies have messages they always have, but when the message becomes the product, and the story amoral lecture viewers check out, ratings drop, and the industry panics. Instead of asking, how do we make this fun, they ask, how do we add more categories to include everyone's sounds? Nice, but it starts feeling like a participation trophy factory in a tuxedo. Maher pushes it into absurdity, pitching fake awards like best editing in a movie still an hour too long. You already know the nominees. Then he goes fully unhinged achievement in ethnic prosthetics, replacing an actor who tweeted something offensive, best freeze frame, followed by, you're probably wondering how I got here. You laugh, but that laugh does double duty. It's funny, and it exposes the logic these awards feel designed for insider applause, not audience excitement. The shows forgot to point the audience.
Best editing of a film that's still an hour too long. Achievement in ethnic prosthetics. Best achievement in replacing an actor who tweeted something offensive.
Here's where it gets interesting. Awards used to matter. They mirrored culture. Even if you disagreed with the winner, the nominees reflected the year in entertainment. People argued bet had opinion.
Best use of a freeze frame, followed by the words, you're probably wondering how I got here.
Now, half the time, the public hasn't even heard of the best. Not because audiences are dumb, it's because the selection process lives in a gated bubble where taste is scored by ideology.
The Michael Bay Coolest Fireball Award. The least annoying picture where the plot is driven by a simple misunderstanding. Best song performed by someone your niece can't believe you've never heard of.
And you can feel it. Did it move anyone? Did anyone quote it, rewatch it? Or was it just applause for checking boxes when awards stop rewarding what people connect with? They lose credibility. It's less best of the year and more best according to a tiny Twitter committee.
Finally, best use of a real-life TV talk show host self out to make the movie seem more realistic. And how is President Ellis responding?
Well, I know usually get a lot of laughs. I had no idea this could actually be a job. I mean, I knew it could be a...
Which brings us to the bigger issue Maher keeps circling. Fear. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear a joke will be misread. Fear of a clip going viral without context. Fear of the mob. The idea that if you step even slightly out of line, you're finished. Some people say that's exaggerated. They claim cancel culture isn't real. And honestly, I wonder what world they're living in, because we've all seen careers damaged over old tweets, bad jokes, clumsy wording, or straight-up misinformation. Maher makes a point that's blunt, but oddly freeing. Most outrage is shallow and short-lived. People rage online, demand consequences, and then a day or two later, they move on to the next target. The internet's attention span is microscopic. He brings up Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder, a movie people insist couldn't be made today. Stiller didn't apologize, and surprise, his career survived. The world didn't end. That's the lesson Maher wants Hollywood to learn. If you stand by your work, instead of instantly folding, a lot of outrage burns out on its own. Is that always true? No. Some industries are harsher. Some people are more exposed. The mob doesn't hit everyone equally, but the main point still stands. When everyone keeps apologizing in advance, the loudest scolds end up writing the culture for everyone else.
Movie lovers get together these days. One phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it."
And that's where Maher's core theme comes in. The idea of rewarding actual courage, not performative virtue.
See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you...
Bravery, in his view, means refusing to be bullied into ideological obedience. He points to moments when leadership actually held the line, like Netflix during the Dave Chappelle controversy. Employees walked out, pressure mounted, and Netflix responded by saying, "We do boundary-pushing comedy here. If that's not for you, this may not be the right workplace." Love or hate Chappelle, that moment mattered because it showed an institution willing to say, "We're not letting internal activism redefine what our platform exists to be."
A man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get...
Because here's the part nobody likes to say out loud. A lot of woke messaging in entertainment isn't coming from the audience. It's coming from inside the building. Writers' rooms, corporate HR culture, studio politics.
But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you.
Because people who believe their job isn't just to entertain, but to educate you, correct you, and shape you. And yes, stories can challenge people. That's what good art does. But the moment it turns into a checklist and a sermon, it stops being art and starts feeling like propaganda with better lighting. Maher also brings up J.K. Rowling. Whatever your view of her, her story shows how fast the moral landscape flips. She went from being attacked by some conservatives over witchcraft books to being attacked by some progressives over sex and gender views. It's like watching the same person get recast as the villain in a new franchise, and that's the bigger point. Today's hero can be tomorrow's heretic because online purity tests never end. They just keep consuming. Which is why Mara's idea of an award show for people who resist cancel culture is both funny and depressing. Funny because imagine the red carpet. Who are you wearing? I Don't Apologize by Dior. Depressing because the idea got excitement and then nothing happened. Of course, nothing happened. Even people who agree privately don't want to be the first one striking a match near a gas leak.
Hey, Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick. So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture?
And the comedy angle is where this whole thing cuts the deepest. Maher points out how comedians are now treated. Like liabilities, like the industry wants humor, but only the kind that's been pre-proved by the most easily offended person in the room.
And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I got to tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone. And in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use.
He compares that to the Will Smith Oscars incident, where something physical happened on live television and there was hesitation and rationalization. Meanwhile, Kevin Hart lost the Oscars hosting gig over old jokes. Whatever details you focus on, the contrast sticks. It makes people feel like the standards are upside down. Real actions get explained away, while jokes are treated like felonies.
Who literally have to wait for the laughter to die down before they yell, "That's not funny!" This war on jokes must end. Will Smith didn't get kicked out of the Oscars for going Ike Turner on Chris, but Kevin Hart got kicked out of hosting it for a joke.
And that's the issue with turning entertainment into a non-stop morality tribunal. You can't have comedy in a culture that refuses to understand intent, context, or growth. Comedy is meant to test the line, to poke sacred cows, to feel a little dangerous, not dangerous as in harmful, but dangerous as in honest. The kind that makes you laugh and then immediately think, wait, can I laugh at that? That tension is the craft. Then Maher widens the lens beyond Hollywood and takes aim at academia, which honestly feels fair. He talks about colleges dropping standardized testing because it's labeled discriminatory, and he praises schools that bring it back. His point is simple. College is supposed to be hard. It's not a vibes-based participation certificate. You should have to prove some level of readiness. And he mocks the idea that testing is automatically racist, like measuring knowledge itself is some kind of injustice.
And Sion Baylock, who reinstated standardized testing at admissions, and by bringing back the SAT, made a clear and brave statement. It's not racist to test if high school students know.
And here's the clearest way to see this debate. Standardized tests have flaws, but there's a difference between fixing a system and pretending. Government itself is oppression. Standards don't remove inequality, you just hide it until people hit the wall later. And that wall isn't gentle. Maher jokes, if you're stupid, don't panic. If schools are test optional, it's harsh, but it exposes the real tension. Are institutions built for excellence or optics? And this loops back to award shows. The Oscars, the Globes, they used to celebrate excellence, imperfectly, but at least that was the promise. Now, it often feels like we reward the right message, not the best work. Audiences can smell it. That's why people say you couldn't make that today. It's shorthand for a bigger truth. Creativity is shrinking under social pressure. Writers, directors, comedians second-guess themselves before they start. Everyone avoids becoming the next trending villain. That's how you get bland movies, committee-written scripts, HR memo characters, and award shows that feel more like conferences than celebrations.
People who say cancel culture isn't a real thing. Just among comedians who've gotten fired and lost gigs for exercising their freedom of expression, the toll is high.
Maher's rant is funny, but it's a warning. Hollywood keeps chasing social approval instead of great storytelling. And award shows lose relevance not because people hate progress, but because no one wants a 3-hour lecture from millionaires giving trophies for content nobody watched. The fix is simple. Reward brilliance, risk, bold stories, unforgettable performances. Let comedy be messy, sharp, human again. So tell me, do you still watch award shows? Are they better, worse, or just irrelevant? What's the last movie that felt truly fearless, Drop it in the comments, I'm curious. And hey, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell on Star Ripple so you don't miss the next deep dive. Culture belongs to audiences, not committees. Hollywood start performing greatness, not morality.